Just then, the doctor walked into the waiting room with a sad look on his face. He turned to the parents and shook his head. "She's gone. We tried our best to revive her, but what I can tell is that she was already dead for a few days. We tried our best, but nothing worked. We tried everything we can. I'm sorry," the doctor said. As the parents started to cry before the doctor said, "By the way, I told your son about your daughter and he didn't make it to take it as well. He's okay. He just have to stay here for a few weeks. He has sustained some minor injuries and 2 fatal ones when he got hit, but it's amazing he survived. The driver of the car that hit your son got put into a custody, and that is not important right now. You can go see him if you want." The parents needed a moment, and the mother nodded, wanting to see her one and only son went to see him. It was so sad, and it was no wonder why this episode was never released. I even cried at this, and then even cut to Dexter's hospital room. He was feeling sad. He had no glasses on, but he had a bandage wrapped around half of his face. He also had bandages and band-aids all over his hands and arms, and even some cuts from the shattered glass were already healed. The mom walked in with tears, seeing her one and only son was okay, but was sad that she will never have the chance to apologize to her dead sister. Dexter then turned to his mom with teary eyes. He may have been a bad eyesight, but he does recognize his mother's form despite being a blur. "Mom, please tell me the truth. Please tell me that Dee Dee's okay. Please tell me the doctors are lying," Dexter said, with a sad tone that was hoping it was a sick joke. The mom was hesitant, but told him that the doctor wasn't lying. Dexter gasped at this, and widened as the reality hits him in the head. "Sweetie, it's going to be okay. At least she's in a better place," Dexter's mom said, hugging her son. Dexter then cried in his mother's arms as the father walked in. "At least we still have our son," the father said in his mind. Then he walked over to his wife, who soon he sat on the bed. "Hey there, champ. How are you feeling?" the father said. "I'm a bit hurt still, but nothing hurts other than my heart. I just don't know why I survived, but what I have known, more than 500 people died getting hit by a car," Dexter said, feeling his head. "Well, maybe it's because you're lucky," the dad explained. "What happened to..." Dexter was about to ask about the car, but trailed off. "It was then towed after you were admitted to the hospital. The driver was arrested for reckless driving, or so I heard," the dad explained. I'm going to miss my sister so much," Dexter said with tears in his eyes. "We all will, Dexter. Things will be all right," the dad said, on the verge of tears. "I promise." Then, after one bit of moment, Dexter and his parents shared a one comforting hug, as the song "Because of You" by Kelly Clarkson played in the background. And then cut to Dee Dee's funeral, as the title card said a few weeks later. It showed the parents and Dexter, who was in a wheelchair and had new glasses on, which looked like his old ones. Mimi, Lily, the teachers, kids in the school, Dexter's friends, Dorothy and her family, Dee Dee's ballet teacher, and even Mandark and his family were sitting on the benches of the church. Dee Dee's coffin was pink and her dress was on top of it, where the pretty bouquet of flowers, pink and white candles, a few dolls, pictures of Dee Dee smiling beautifully. The coffin was open and showing Dee Dee's body, wearing a beautiful princess-like dress, her hair down and holding her stuffed bear, Mr. Fuzzmums, and pink rose on the bear's chest. During the funeral, everyone who was mistreated Dee Dee apologized and shared their memories of Dee Dee, including Dexter and his parents. Dexter's friends, classmates, and the teachers gave Dexter their condolences. "I am so sorry about your sister, Dee Dee," or Dexter. "Is there anything we can do?" Miss Wimple said, before Dexter replied, shaking his head. "Not right now, but thank you." Miss Wimple nodded softly, then went back to sitting down. It was sadder as it cut to the cemetery scene, where they lowered Dee Dee's coffin to the ground. Everyone threw flowers on the coffin. before they stopped at the church to bury the coffin. Dexter's parents comforted Dexter himself, as a few characters left for home. Dorothy's mom and dad gave Dexter's family their condolences and stayed with them along with the Mandark's family until the coffin was completely buried under the ground. Dee Dee's tombstone had a heart with 2 ballet slippers carved on it. A tombstone said, "In loving memory of Dee Dee, a sweet girl who is gone too soon. Beloved sister, daughter, friend, lover of pink, and ballet dancers. Hope we see you again in the big stage in the sky." It then cuts to a short scene at time, as it was Dexter's lab. Him doing his routine, and his family was doing the school routine. Only the kids and teachers give him condolences, also trying to be there for him, along with his friends, even though he still felt down, like 20 to 26 years old. Actually, male voice in the background. Fiends and myself were never the same since my sister died, or how all they say took their own life. Every day in my lab, I expect an interruption or a sound of broken glass, but nothing happens. I was to remind myself that Dee Dee is gone forever, and that is never coming back. My parents packed all of Dee Dee's belongings and placed half of them in the attic and the other half into charity, which is mostly her toys, clothes, and her kitty clock. They even turned the bedroom into an everyday guest room. Her doorposter was removed, along with her 2 cat pictures. It was just me and my parents ever since. I have spent the half of my time as a normal kid, yet the other half lives still as a half scientist still. I once thought about bringing her back to life for a week after her death, but Mandark, who I assume was trying to attack me as he always did, would caught me trying to bring her back. But then he told me something to make me stop. Dexter, I hate to say this, especially to you, but even if you find a way, death will always take people away we love. It can't be cheated that easily. Death is a permanent thing, Dexter. It can never be reversed. Not ever. I know I once said to try to bring someone back, but it didn't work. Listen, Dexter, I came here to say that this is for the last time you would see me. I am calling it a permanent truce. I know things from between us have been rough, but this is different. I hope you understand. Goodbye, Dexter. And that was the last time I ever saw him. That was the very last time he walked out, but not before giving the note to Dee Dee, before she died. It said, "Dear everyone, I'm sorry I caused you all to get hurt, especially you, Dexter. I know that how really stupid I am, and I am responsible for my brother's death if he is dead. Everyone still hates me. I wish I could go back and reverse what I did, but I can't. Mom and Dad, I am sorry for being a horrible daughter, and I'm sorry for getting my brother hurt. You guys are the best parents ever had. I'm really sorry I had to leave you. I never meant for my brother to get hurt. You guys are the best parents I've ever had. Mimi and Lily, you are the both amazing best friends I've ever had. Sorry if I made you both sad, but I can't take any more of this suffering. And finally, my only brother Dexter, I'm so sorry for always wrecked your lab. I'm sorry for getting you in trouble. I'm sorry for calling you a blockhead. I'm sorry for everything I did to you. You are really one smart kid, Dex. If I do this, you all will be finally rid of me, and I can get rid of your heavy burden once and for all. I'm sorry I had to leave all of you like this, but I'll be watching you from where I am. Live on for me, everyone, and everyone, as even you, my little brother. I love you so much, and I hope to see you all again one day. Thank you all, and goodbye forever. Sincerely, Dee Dee." About a day later, I heard Mandark killed himself by overdosing on pills. My guess is that he didn't want to live without my sister, due to the fact that he likes her. I had to admit, and maybe he and I might be rivals, but we do have a bit of respect for each other. I missed her so much. After her death, Lily quit ballet and joined up with a group of new friends, dressed in black, or how you can say the goth group. Mimi, on the other hand, also quit ballet and made friends with the prepped up and prim group. She changed into not a good way. She literally lost sight of what was going on around her. Neither Mimi or Lily had spoken to each other ever since. One night after a few days later, after Mandark's funeral Dee Dee was his dream. It was not like any last time she was in my dreams. She wrecked my whole dream. It was different that she was dressed in white and her hair was down. I was happy to see her one last time. In my sleep, she said to me, "I am happy that you are okay, Dex. I came down here to see you last time. I know you miss me. But like I said, I'll be watching you all where I am now." I smiled as tears knowing that she was still there. But I was sad that she was going away again. I begged her to stay, but she shook her head at me. I told her if she goes, I'll never see her again. Dee Dee smiled back at me and said, "You'll one day, Dex. We will be reunited, but until then, I need you to live your life. I'm not suffering anymore, knowing that you're okay. I'll always be watching you, Dex. So promise me that you will stay strong and live your life to the fullest." I was hesitant, but nodded and promised her. Before she went to heaven, she said, "I'm happy that you promised. Listen, Dexter, even though we were driving each other mad, I just want to say I love you with all my heart, bro. Goodbye, Dex. Also, tell everyone that I love them all." I nodded before she saw the angel grew wings, and her halo glowed as she was flying to the sky. I watched her fly up to heaven as I whispered, "Goodbye, Dee Dee. May the smell of chocolate chip cookies guide you to heaven." Then I woke up after the sun rose in my bedroom. I told my parents everything except for Mimi and Lily, who were not really interested in what is hard to say about what Dee Dee said. Sure enough, they believed me. My mom said that it was a sign that she kept us to make sure she was okay. I promised to Dee Dee that day I will live on my life with my parents and friends, especially Dorothy. I was surprised and happy to see her. And she was smart, although I am. She was interested in biology, which is science. I think me and a few other friends, even Douglas and Dorothy, joined the roleplay group. And I mean, when we say smart girls can't roleplay Dungeons and Dragons. As I got older, I keep the memory of me and my sister alive, and I became smarter and slightly wiser. I learned that some things are pretty much fine without technology, and some things are. Here I am, 18 years old, getting ready for college with my friends. As the song ended, a voice of the narration of what's happening showed an 18-year-old Dexter, who looked the same but much taller, and he looked flawless with no blemishes, boils, pimples, or freckles. In his room getting ready for college with his friends. He was almost done packing as his mom knocks on the door. "Dex, can I come in?" the mom said. "Sure, Mom. I'm almost done packing," Dexter replied as his mom walked in. "The car's packed, honey," the mom informed her son before immediately crying. Dexter assumes that she was grieving again, but the mom shook her head. "No, it's not that, Dexter. It's how a parent reacts when their baby's all grown up. I haven't seen this way since your attempt at college," the mom explained. Dexter sighs before giving his mom a pat on the shoulder. The mom sadly sighs, remembering the mistakes that she regretted. "I miss her too, Mother." Then, without a warning, the car beep was heard. Dexter then looked out the window to see it was Douglas, who looked a bit different than usual. He had no glasses, and his skin was smooth as Dexter's, and his hair was neat. When the driver in the seat, Dorothy, her hair was short in the shoulder, who wore a blue turquoise and purple skirt. In the back seat, "Hey, Dexter, you ready yet?" Douglas asked while poking his head out of the car window. "Almost, Douglas. I will be right down," Dexter replied to his friend, before proceeding to pack up the rest of the stuff that he was taking before going to college, including his clothes. A second later, Dad showed up. "Oh, perfect timing. Can you help me get my packed stuff to the car?" Dexter asked. "Sure thing, son," his father said. The dad and both the parents both looked at each other as they smiled. "Oh, Dexter, seems like only yesterday when you were just a baby, crawling around and filling our lives with joy and laughter. And now that you're all grown up," the mom said, feeling so much joy of a bit of heartbreak that her son was growing up. "We love you, son. Will you be in touch with us?" the dad asked. "I will try what I can, Father. I'll promise possibly come home for the holidays," Dexter said, smiling. When the parents picked up some of Dexter's packed stuff and slowly walked him to the car, it was more than enough time for Dexter to shut down his laboratory and lock it. I need to make sure no one gets in here. Besides, the lab needs some rest all these years of working after," Dexter said to himself, before getting the last bit of his stuff to the car. Just after walking down to the stairs, he spots a picture frame with his deceased sister's pictures on it. The two table with pink candles on each side of the frame. "Wish me luck, sister," Dexter said, before walking out of the door, carrying his stuff. It then cuts to Dad trying to fit all of Dexter's packed stuff with Dorothy and Douglas's packed stuff, while Mom stood there with a raised brow. Dexter immediately sees it and chuckled before walking to them. "Let me help you with that, Father," Dexter said, as he helped the old man packing his stuff in the trunk. He proceeds to close it. Dexter then looked at his parents again, a smile as she hugged him for a quick second. "Goodbye, Mom and Dad. Thank you for everything you have done for me. And I'll miss you." Dexter then opened the car and climbed into the seat with Dorothy, and before closing it, Douglas drove out of the driveway, and as Dexter waved goodbye to his parents, who had tears in her eyes and smiled, the car drove away as the mom cried. "Our little boy has grown up so fast," the mom said, sobbing. "He sure has," the dad replied. Then the same male voice to him said in the background, when I realized it was Dexter as an adult. It then cuts to what happened in Dexter's life. "I went off to college that day, but on that time I was determined to study and no parties. It was tough, but it was worth it though. I did end up rooming with Douglas. Me and Dorothy started dating a month or two. And you are all probably wondering, what happened to the other people we all know? Well, after I heard graduation, Lily became a singer of rock and roll band. Mimi became a fashion designer for some model company. Mandark's sister Lavera, who is my age, was getting ready for her wedding in 3 years, considering Mandark's parents haven't found her future husband yet. And my teacher, Mr. Wonsky, retired just after my graduation in high school. I then later graduated about 3 years later and got a degree in science and biology along with Dorothy. At the same year we graduated, me and Dorothy got married. After our wedding, my parents gave us the house as a wedding present. It was the sweet of them, even though it was a bit concerning. I asked them where they would live, and my dad said they'll be going to Hawaii for an early retirement. I can't blame them, since they deserve the rest of our stuff from the retired years as parents. We moved back into my house, and after unpacking the stuff, our long periods of time, I showed Dorothy my secret lab. And when I showed her, it didn't even bother her, as she was amazed. She once showed me her secret lab when she does her biology type stuff. I got a job as a scientist, and after that, 9 months after Dorothy and I became parents to 4 kids. When our kids were born, Douglas vowed to be a great uncle. He was my best friend, and after all, I am here now, a family man, science, and husband. The scene now shows a Dexter, who has now built his lab into the basement, working on a new invention before hearing shouts. "What are those 4 up to?" Dexter said, as he was walking from the basement and into the living room. The scene shows 2 girls and boys fighting over the TV. "Daisy, Ann, Jeanette, Elliot, Albert, what's going on?" Dexter asked strictly. "The boys won't share the remote, Daddy," the younger girl said. The older girl looked a bit like Dexter, but her hair color was like Dorothy's, and she was wearing a bit of red and purple. The younger sister girl looked a lot like Dexter with glasses and red hair, but she was wearing a light blue and pink. The older boy was like Dexter, but with Dexter's hair color, and was wearing everyday boy clothes, and the younger boy looked like Dorothy and had squared glasses. He was surprisingly wearing the same thing Dexter wore as a kid. "Jeanette's lying, Dad. They kept hogging the TV, right, Albert?" the younger boy said to his brother. "Now, kids, your mother and I need you to behave. Daisy, Ann, and Jeanette, why don't you and your brothers go play in the backyard for a bit? I got to see your Aunt Dee Dee's grave for a bit," Dexter said to his children. Dorothy then walked in as Jeanette and her brothers talked things out. "Honey, will you be able to drop me off at the market on the way here?" Dorothy asked. Dexter then nodded before a knock was heard at the door. "Oh, here they are," Dorothy said as he and Dexter opened the door. It revealed to be Dexter's parents, who were a bit, but not completely old and grown up. Douglas. "Hey, guys," Douglas greeted. "Glad you can make it, Mom and Dad." And Douglas, Dexter said as he let them in. "Hey there, who wants to give Grandpa a hug?" the dad said, before Albert and Jeanette tackled their grandfather with a hug. They laughed with joy. The mom then showed Dexter a bouquet of flowers for Dee Dee's grave, before Daisy Ann asked if she could come. And Dorothy and Dexter nodded. "How is my first granddaughter?" the mom asked. "I'm okay, Grandma. Just nervous, that's all," Daisy Ann replied. Without any more talk, Dorothy and the mom went to the car. "Thanks for agreeing to watch the kids with Douglas, Dad," Dexter said. "No problem, son. Besides, I love my grandkids," the dad replied. "Hey, Albert, want to play outside with your Uncle Douglas?" Douglas asked happily. "Yeah, I like that," Albert said, before the two ran out to the backyard. "I hope this day is a nice one, Daddy." "I like how my days are nice," Daisy Ann said. "You know, with that smile you always remind me a lot of your Aunt Dee Dee," Dexter said. Daisy Ann then went to the car, and then sat in the backseat next to her grandma. "All right, kids, be good for your grandpa and Uncle Douglas," Dexter said, before walking out and closing the door. Jeanette then sat next to her grandfather, while Elliot went to his room in a sneaky manner. It then cut to the cemetery, with Dexter and the mom and Daisy Ann standing in front of the grave, talking and laughing about the good times before they said their goodbye. Daisy Ann then placed a flower on her grave. "We'll see you later, Aunt Dee Dee," Daisy Ann said, about as they walked to the car. And that's how the story, just not my inventions or my secret laboratory, but the story of me and my late sister Dee Dee. Please do not do anything that harms you, like any way if it did. If it makes you feel trapped, then ask or talk to someone who truly cares about you. That is my message to anyone who has depression or has any type of sad related emotions. By the way, if you have a secret like me, for example, when I was young, I had a secret lab, and if anyone asks, play it cool and tell you that you didn't see a thing. And continue your life, and keep it up for a secret as long as you can. Dexter's older voice says that it showed Dee Dee's grave with the flowers, and then it said, "Stay by Me" by Anne Lennox, played as the credits rolled. It was kind of different scenes. It then showed an older Mimi knocking on the dark-looking door of a spooky-looking tour bus. As it opened, it showed an older Lily with long hair, wearing black clothes. Lily was surprised to see her again, as Mimi said in tears that she was mouthing "I'm sorry" before she fell on her knees and crying as Lily comforted her. I assumed that she had forgiven her. The two then laughed, in tears in their eyes. It then pinned out to the sky, slowly showing a future generation of Justice's friends flying through the sky. It then pinned out to an older honeydew with her child and monkey with his monkey grandkids, turning out to be superpowered chimps, just like they did while standing at the new quarters with new soldiers. The monkeys salute to their grandfather, as Monkey did as well, before they went off to save the day. The new Justice friends, Honeydew and Monkey, hugged each other before they got their backs broken a little before they start laughing. Honeydew's child then smiled, shaking her head as if to say, "Life's full of surprises," and then showed most of the characters working like normal people, talking to another, and then shows Dee Dee and Mandark, who were in their 30s in heaven together, hand in hand, watching everyone who had loved them while they were still alive, and smiling as they felt peace and happiness with their child playing around catching butterflies. The scene then shows Mandark's house, and the outside it showed yet a peaceful older Lavanna meditating with her husband, who were parents and child, who resembled their grandmother. While her other child, who looks a bit more resemblant to Mandark, started working on inventing some stuff good, just like Mandark did. The boy turns to the screen and says, "Hey, someone needs to keep this smart memory alive." It showed Albert playing with Douglas in the backyard, as they laughed playfully, and then it cuts to the scene as showing the dad on the couch, while Jeanette was watching an all-girls tennis league playing on TV. They silently cheered for her favorite team to win. It then cuts to outside of the house, showing Dexter and the mom and Dorothy and Daisy Ann carrying the groceries out of the car and into the house where while talking about what they should make for dinner. "So what are you guys making for dinner?" the mom asked. "One of your famous roasts, Mom. I wouldn't have made it if you didn't teach me how to make it," Dorothy answered, and her mother-in-law. "Sounds delicious. Can we stay for dinner?" the mom asked. Then Dexter answered, "I don't see why not, Mom. Our family's always welcome." I love my family, Daddy, Daisy said, before the four shared a joyful laugh. The song then faded, as it showed Elliot in his room, which is similar to Dexter's room, opening a bookcase, which revealed a laboratory as the computer voice said, "Welcome back, Elliot." With one look at the screen, Elliot said, "Well, this isn't the end, folks. This is the brand new beginning of a new generation. So you may want hope that you'll see the others like me for the new series, Elliot's Laboratory. Hope to see you soon, and see you later." After that, he entered his lab with the bookcase closed with the words, "The End," in bold yellow letters popped up like it did in Dexter's episodes. It then cuts to the plain white words. And stay tuned for a new series, Elliot's Laboratory, the next Dexter's Laboratory generation. It then fades to one last time. I was very shocked and very sad of how this episode was released. Like, what the hell did I just watch? I barely even noticed how long that episode was until I saw it had 50 minutes and 18 seconds on it. It didn't seem like that episode ever since that day. I can admit the episode was very sad, but good, a little bit mature for a Dexter's Laboratory episode. Just a little too mature in my honest opinion. I didn't tell anyone about my friends or family about this until I decided to type it out on my computer and share this story with you all. The only other people who knew about the episode, it was two of the friends I mentioned earlier, miraculously for the sake of keeping it a secret. They all were shocked, as I have been the first time ever watched. To be honest, it filled me with dread seeing the episode, especially when I watched it for the second time. My friend was shocked, as I was when I heard the curse word or two in the episode. It was then a little sad, that a little good, but very mature like I said before. I got into 5 minutes in because my two friends and myself started to have a club soon after we graduated middle school. This club involves us and possible other people seeing some Dark Dex Laboratory or some old Cartoon Network TV show episodes. And if anyone comes to us or messages us about Dark Dexter's Laboratory or any other old Cartoon Network TV shows that happen and want to share with us, don't hesitate to explain of what you happened on the episode. Everything you may know, cause it might reveal something huge about something we never knew or something that should be shared with the whole rest of the world. Who knows what dark or depressing between the bone-chilling episodes of the old cartoon TV shows could possibly be next. So, then the question is, are there any more dark episodes of the old Cartoon Network TV shows out there in the world? If there are and if you see one, it explains, please, and possibly send us an image or screenshot of the dark episode of one of the old Cartoon Network TV shows. Or at least send us an art impression of what they looked like. One of my friends painted an art impression of where Dee Dee was hung. Trust me, it was not a pretty sight, but we want you all to know what it looked like when we watched it, despite it all being an art impression. Well, I gotta go now. I'm late for this club meeting. See you all later. Well, that was certainly a long Dexter's Laboratory creepypasta, but there you go. I finally managed to get through it. That was Dee's Depression, a creepypasta written by BadHarleyLuck31. My final thoughts on this story? This is actually a really decent and well-made Lost episode creepypasta. Well, I could certainly say it does have I'm sorry, pardon me about that. I was stretching. I could definitely say it's a pretty amazing, well-made story, as well as a good concept and all that. But there were a few things that I kind of want to make a mention. One, there were some very, very mature subject matters that were in this, but I can't really, go too much in the detail. I had to censor some of it because, it was just, it's not ad friendly if I went into full detail, but yeah, I mean, I've never seen this show in years, so I don't really remember, but I do know for a fact that Dee Dee likes to pick on Dexter, especially for those who have seen the show. I mean, I haven't watched this in a while, so I can definitely say. I could see, Dexter always getting picked on by Dee Dee, and I mean, Dee Dee taking her own life after what happened to Dexter. I mean, I understand she was depressed, But the way she was, I'm not going to mention too much of what it is, but you should all know. It's on, the story is on DeviantArt for those who wanted to take a look at it. I mean, yeah. Despite this, I can definitely say it's a really messed up story. But I mean, I could really say that, the concept of someone hacking into the Cartoon Network studios to get the episode, I mean, I think other creepypastas have done this too. I'm not too sure, but I could definitely say, I mean, it's a pretty decent, well-made creepypasta. No, it's not perfect, but it's definitely one of the decent ones out there. Because I know for a fact that most Lost episode pastas are not that easy to write. But this one, for some reason, it honestly fits very well. I mean, the subject matters I wasn't really, too much of a fan of. But I know why it happened the way it did. I could definitely say the grammar was okay, but it does need improvement. Like, I did spot a couple grammatical errors while I was reading the story. And one big major thing, I think the major flaw of this story is that it's just in one giant paragraph. And I mean, that is, if you're going to have a story in one giant paragraph, it's going to be really confusing to read. And I mean, I was honestly confused on what part I have and haven't read while reading this because it was just in a giant paragraph. Now, if you were going to write a story, I would recommend maybe put a few sentences in a paragraph, then space it out. So then that way it's much easier for me to read. I mean, when it was in a big paragraph like that, not only it was confusing for me to read, but it was also a bit difficult for me to read at times. But despite that, I still find this to be a really interesting story. I mean, it doesn't involve anyone taking their own life after Dee Dee died, well, except for one person. But I mean, it doesn't involve Dexter, taking his own life afterwards, saying, "Oh, I can't live with myself anymore." I mean, I'm really glad that it didn't go that far, because that's pretty cliche in creepypastas, if I'm being completely fair and honest. But I definitely have to say, it's a pretty good story. I really found it to be really nice. It does have some stuff that I didn't really care for, but despite that, I mean, I can understand Cartoon Network would never make an episode like that. Well, I mean, they have done some episodes that went a little too far, but I can't really see them, airing an episode like that. Like, yeah, I would have no doubt why they would not air the episode, this episode, obviously. So, yeah. So, I guess with that being the case, that being said, the story was a decent one. Not good, but not bad either. I can definitely say that. But like I said, that's just my opinion. I mean, your opinion may be different, but I guess it depends on how everyone looks at it. So anyways, with that being said, with that being the case, this is just simply my own personal opinion. If you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. I'm gonna give this story a 8 out of 10. While I could definitely say it does have an interesting concept and it does seem really nice, but the subject matters really kind of made me, a little bit uneasy. But I mean, I've read, messed up shit before, but the subject matters that were in this story, it didn't really work great. Maybe not fully, but it didn't work really that great because that's been used. The mature subject themes that were in this story, yeah, that's been used in a lot of creepypastas. The grammar was okay, but it does need, improvement. Like, I would recommend putting this through Google Docs because they could easily detect, where there was punctuation errors or, grammatical errors, all that. But another thing too is that it was in a one giant paragraph, so it was pretty hard for me to read of what part I have and haven't read. So, yeah, my suggestion is have at least I put at least maybe 2 free sentences, sometimes 4 in a paragraph, and then I space out to go do another one. If you do that, that would honestly be more helpful, and it would make it more easier for people to read in the future. But anyways, What did you guys personally think of this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally helped make this story a lot better. Feel free to leave me now with your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to this channel, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.